What's up, everybody? Today we're going to be talking a lot about mobility and stretching, and some of the mistakes or some of the miscues that a lot of people think, especially in the performance field, the strength conditioning field, they think it's counterproductive. And in my experience, it's totally different. So we're going to talk a little bit about some benefits of stretching, some mobility exercises, and some mistakes that are put into programs that may or may not limit performance and even prevent injuries. So let's get right into it. So let's look at some excuses or some problems that I always hear when they're into programs. Number one, the first and foremost is we don't have enough time. There's not enough time in the schedule to actually put a mobility program in there, okay? Number two, it doesn't meet our goals. In other words, it's counterproductive, which leads into three. If you're working on strength, I've heard strength and conditioning coaches say, we're working on strength, that's all we're gonna work on, and we're not gonna do anything else. And then speed, counterproductive. If you lengthen, many people say it reduces up to 15%, reduces performance up to 15%. Some research has shown that. I'm a big believer in stretching and why it should be in programs. So I'm going to give you some research on some things that it can actually help with and why you should increase it and make time into your programs for it. So they say it's counterproductive, and we just went over that. They say that it doesn't increase strength and it doesn't increase speed, so why should it be in my program? Well, it should be in your program because it produces faster recovery. If it produces faster recovery, then your athletes are going to be recover faster and therefore be able to get back into the weight room at a higher effort, higher intensity, and a better rate of recovery. Therefore, they're going to get stronger and they're going to get faster. So the counterproductive excuse really doesn't make any sense to me. So, and number two, it increases or limits injuries. And there's been several studies out there that show this relationship. It limits the recovery rate. It limits the injury rates just because it gets their parasympathetic nervous system, which is number three, back into a state of recovery. Now, and that all being said, just in my experience alone, I've noticed a lot of benefits in athletes that I deal with on a day-to-day basis on why it's important. Number one, their pain tolerance gets a lot better. Number two, they're not in a lot of pain when it comes to DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. So it reduces that effect, and it actually it helps recovery. It helps them come back in here and be 100% effort versus sore and limited in their range of motion. Now, let's cover some mistakes that might be made in certain programs if you're putting it into your programs. So, number one, this activation. So, when we talk about activation, we always talk about we're trying to excite the nervous system. We're trying to get the nervous system ready for workout. So the last thing that you need to be doing is just sitting in a certain stretch or holding a stretch like this and think that it's gonna actually start to warm up the muscles. It's not the case. Activation, if you want to do this, then you're going to do that 4 or 5 times with a 3 to 5 second hold. That's activation, okay? That's what we want to try to do on a pre-workout, like right before we get into doing some type of upper body in that case. So, and then the last part of it, we don't want to be activating at the end of the workout. we actually want to increase the parasympathetic nervous system, or activate the parasympathetic nervous system, so that the body can start its recovery process. That's why it's important to make sure that we stretch isometrically. I know that's, for a lot of you, a scary word, especially in a program, but if we isometrically stretch at the end of a program, just 5 minutes, then it's going to activate that parasympathetic nervous system for faster recovery, and it also limits our injuries. So we want to make sure that we isometrically hold those 15 to 30 seconds is what I usually do, but some people have even said hold up to 2 minutes. Holding up to 2 minutes actually helps to increase the joint range of motion. So those are some things that you need to be aware of when you're thinking about excluding some mobility exercises or including mobility exercises. A few mistakes there, a few benefits, and a few excuses to ignore when it comes to adding mobility into your programs. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me, brooks@mvptraining.net.